Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Preston Brown, a speaker, serial entrepreneur, disruptive innovator, and business coach. Preston, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Honored to be here.
Awesome. Let's go back in time a little bit. Your journey started early. How did you get started?
My journey started because we grew up poor in a little town called Canutillo outside of El Paso. Dad wanted the life we watched on TV, not the one we had in our trailer park, and launched his own business. Unfortunately, didn't understand billing, collecting, charging, and a few months in, poor people run out of money when you don't know how to collect. Big fight happened, frying pan got thrown against the wall. I had to be the charity case that went up to meet the guy with Dad and didn't get paid what he was owed. Got handed a wad of money, gave up on the financial dreams, spent the rest of his life working in a job. So my hero gave up on his dreams that way. That shaped the 7-year-old me from love is the meaning of life to probably a corporate asshole is the best way to put it. If you thought Donald Trump was too harsh, I made him look like a sweet little angel. And I was the shit husband, terrible father. That went on for many years, built some multi-million-dollar companies, then lost Dad in 2019. From there, I had to come to Jesus meeting with myself. I was pissed at God for taking him, pissed at me for not spending time with him, pissed at him for leaving, and I had to refocus and go learn what I lost at 7, that love is the meaning of life. And I started automating companies instead of scaling them. Got a lot of my time back. The company's valuations went exponential when they started becoming automated, which go figure, talk about a random find, and life changed dynamically.
That is absolutely amazing. And I'm sure the longer version of that story should be in a book somewhere if it isn't already. So you said automate versus scale. What's the difference?
Scaling a company is all growing. Automating a company is making it into the vehicle that it's supposed to be. You could walk to the store, you could drive to the store. The difference is the vehicle that you're traveling, correct? And so the speed at which you get there. And the efficiency. So automation is all about efficiency. Every goal or every business has the same goal. That is efficiency. I broke that down. I like formulas and frameworks. I broke that down to 3 things. It's alignment, simplicity, and foresight make up this thing called efficiency. And I found that if you measure culture, clarity, capacity, and cash, like 4 legs on a table, that table will have a balanced structure that can support alignment, simplicity, and foresight. And there's not that many things you have to adjust to accomplish successful, equally linked, equally strength, culture, clarity, capacity, and cash to create that structure.
That sounds like a fascinating process. You've had some incredible results along the way. Can you talk about, let's say, one of those companies, what the problems were they were dealing with when they found you, and then that magical transformation you were able to accomplish?
So yeah, I'll give you some of my own companies. I know you said I'm a coach. I'm not a coach. I built a coaching company. We literally got sued by Tony Robbins. The coaching company exploded and grew even bigger because that turned out to be a huge advertising event. And then this last year, I gave it away to my other friends that I built it with because I don't love coaching. So I'm not a coach anymore. I did it.
Sorry about that.
You're good. But I'll give you an example. I acquired a company. I actually got paid to take it called Zia Homes in El Paso. And it was a company where the owner had effectively made his money. And I don't want to say aged out because he's not too old to run it, but he had made enough money to where he wasn't motivated. He hired the wrong high-level management staff. They took advantage, ran it into the ground, took the company from a couple hundred homes a year down to about 30. It was so bad, and he loved it, and he loved the people that were there, that he actually gave me a check of $50,000 to take it, and I had to re-optimize everything. So you had to go down before you went up. It was almost like peeling layers of an onion back to find out what was wrong. And we had issues in every quadrant. But I'll give you a fun piece from that one. During COVID, which was a gift if you were in the home building business, especially when you're correcting a failed brand, we started having a ton of demand for the products we'd redesigned. And it really helped us overcome the negative brand because we had to solve the problem of capacity, right? Throughput, like leads, sales, delivery, and cash. And so during COVID, we started selling, not just because we had a great product, but also because the demand spiked tremendously here in Texas. We had every Californian coming here to buy a house. It was wonderful. And we realized we couldn't build the level of homes we were selling. If we could build 15 or 20 a month, we could sell 60 or 70 a month. So I started raising the prices. And that was my way of slowing. You can adjust in a company. Price, product, people, place, promotion, or process. These are the pieces you can manipulate to correct your company. To slow everything, I raised prices. I got tons of hate. I was in corporate greed, that, the other. Everybody hated me. Until about 6 or 8 months later, when my margins were through the roof, we were selling successfully, dialed it back down to 20 sales because prices were higher. I'm like, all that hate, everybody remembers the news. Lumber prices doubled and tripled. Inflation, the home building industry. Like we were that leading indicator for what was coming for the next few years for everybody else, right? And so just the magic happened, and we were the only ones that didn't have to stop. Our appraisals had already been set because we dialed our sales to our capacity by adjusting our pricing. So there's an example of how you use the formula. Take the problem, put it in the top, what's causing the inefficiency. And it was all in capacity at that point. We used price to leverage it.
Absolutely. And what ended up being the end result of that turnaround?
So that company I still have today. Very successful company. We should do more than 300 homes this year. We've acquired a bunch of other companies that are within our supply chain, which helps us be way ahead. We're starting to expand into other markets as well. And we have an incredible asset that's automated with an amazing C-suite team, great culture, incredible employees, and just a system that can be replicated and duplicated and expanded in an economy where I think there's going to be a huge need for housing over the next 10 years.
Absolutely. I believe if my numbers are correct, you've done this. You yourself have had over 18 businesses. How do you balance it all?
So I don't necessarily believe in balance. Work-life balance, I think, is a myth, right? I love problems. Most people try to avoid them. I run towards them. And maybe that's a little bit masochistic in nature, but I've got a simple formula for life, right? It's faith, family, fitness, finance. There's 4 cores. You want to add this other one that's not a need called fun in. And wherever I have the biggest problem, if I have the biggest problem in family, I'm going to give all my time to solve that problem. And hopefully in a way where it's automated. My wife's pissed at me. Maybe I doing something that made her feel special. Maybe I can add a little piece in my calendar and time manage that. The business is struggling. I got to find out what the real problem is. Are we having an emotional issue with the staffer? Is there a process issue? Is it alignment, simplicity, foresight? Where's it coming from? And then go in and solve not just the problem that is, but the problem that's solved, but the problem that is, which is how you create the processes to scale it. But I don't think there's any such way to just balance and say, hey, I'm going to get 25% of my day to each. You've got to go say, what is my largest problem? I'm going to solve that, because solving the problems creates that kind of freedom and the ability to have that space and balance.
You talk about culture a lot. What are some of your foundations for high performance teams?
Oh, I think culture is just the magic in the middle. It's what makes every business a successful business. And a high performance team, it's almost contrarian because you have to go against the narrative politically, right? Like the most important thing a leader has is a quality, I believe. Not the only one, but the most important is they have to be dangerous enough to create safety. Business is a blood sport, 365 days a year. You have everybody wanting to put you out of business and you want to grow your market share while they're trying to take your market share. Right? So you have to be dangerous enough to create safety for your team. So safety and danger is one foundational paradox of culture. You've also got another one. It's quality or narrative. People want to build a quality product, produce a quality product. And if you can't sell the quality, you have to sell the narrative, which they're talking shit about the other guy. You want to communicate effectively mission, vision, values. You want to establish what is your production. If you're going to sell iPhones, then I want 60% market share on Earth. If you're going to create a coaching program for high net worth individuals, you may want 100 folks in your program. What is the production we're going to produce? We're going to do a high value product for a few people, a good product that we're going to sell in mass, but it's not going to touch points. What is it? And then last, and probably most important in culture, is tribal triggers. This is what puts the word cult to the word culture. We all think cult is a bad word, but cult just means identity in group. If that makes sense. If you have an identity and it's who you get to be, but it's also the slave of who you have to be, a culture is who the business gets to be and the slave of who it has to be. And it's all about creating a productivity model where there's regenerative growth and creating the same thing over and over again. So what are the tribal triggers that are anchored into creating that culture within your team? It's really the foundation of everything. It's what creates everything in clarity, capacity, cash.
That is awesome. You have seen so much and worked in different industries with different types of companies. What are some of the most common reasons why we get it wrong? Why are some of the why do businesses fail?
Most businesses fail, and I'm going to just, there's a lot of reasons, and we can go over hundreds. I made a video recently where there was 5 reasons. There's hundreds. You can almost boil them down to one, which is the inability of entrepreneur to learn, or ego, if you want. Almost every problem, unless you have like stage 4 cancer or something else horrible, like it has a solution. And so if you're trying to avoid your problems and you're against learning, that problem is going to own and possess you. I think we believe lies. Like we've all heard, oh, the customers were always right. It's such a lie. Like the customer may be more right than your competitor's customer, but they're not always right. I mean, think about the damning meaning of the statement, always right. You sell your product for free. You'd honor a warranty only forever. Or how about it takes money to make money? BS. That is such a bold-faced lie. It takes an idea to make money. There is so much freaking money out there. If you have an amazing idea, that money will find you. All of business is an idea that turns into a culture that turns into production. So people believe lies and they get, how would I say this? I heard a guy say this, Michael Beckwith said this about kind of spirituality. And I think it really works in business too. He said, religion is a great way of avoiding hell. It's the rules that you're going to structure it. But spirituality is going there, conquering the motherfucker and coming victorious. Like you have to be willing to dive into your problems. And for every entrepreneur, just to give you the short form version, if you're not willing to use your greatest strengths, your greatest problems to find the silver lining and create your greatest weaknesses, you're not an entrepreneur.
Amen to that. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Oh God, the constant change. And I think it keeps me young. My wife and I were talking, and we were talking about, if you ever saw my high school photos, I was this nerd, giant, tiny shoulders. I was opposite of what high school would have called sexy. Like I was not cool. And we just hit 40, or I hit 41. She's a little younger than me. And she was like, for 40, you look better than most of the 25-year-olds here. And I was like, huh. But the constant change and the constant learning and the constant fun that kind of comes from the entrepreneurial world makes you open to that in the health area, the fitness area, the family and relationship area. And that constant change, if you are the ugliest guy in high school, 25 years later, if you learned a lot more than everybody else, you might be the sexiest guy in your age group. And but it works for women as well. Looks kind of change, but if you're 60 and in really good shape, you're sexy. You could have been the ugliest guy in high school. So that learning that comes from the entrepreneurial space, it conditions every other area of your life. I love learning new stuff. I love problems. I think problems are the meaning of life. If you look at problems in 40,000 years of human history, the leading problem for women was children, right? Childbirth, it was the leading cause of death. Okay. Thank God that they still had them. Otherwise we wouldn't exist, right? The way that we end life is death. So it's a problem. The greatest moments in life is overcoming adversity, which means there was a problem involved in the process. Holy shit. What if problems are the point? What if we're here for problems? And maybe I sound a little masochistic and I love them, but those who love them tend to solve them. Those who solve them tend to be the ones everybody else is going afterward, going back to the point that the leader has.
You mentioned that you're not a coach. What exactly are you in terms of beyond the businesses that you own? How are you helping others now?
So my goal now is, I'm a nerd. I'm still a nerd. Okay. So I might be sexier than I was in high school because I stayed in shit, but I'm still the nerd. I went and I tracked every coaching session I did. I built that company, a bunch of great travel. It's called YBL. It's a great company. I totally endorse it, even though I'm not a part anymore, but I'm not involved. All my coaching sessions boil down to 15 different main problems. Not all, 98%, 15 different main problems. So I made 15 to 30-minute videos about those problems. I created a master class I give away for free to everybody. You don't even need the 15 videos. You should go buy them because they'll speed you up. I think $1,000 for all 15. And then, or 200 each. But the masterclass is free. You can go to automateyou.com or www.automateyou.com, whatever it is. And you can go download a masterclass that has the 7 stages of entrepreneurship. There's common problems associated with each stage. And then you solve those. There's a problem-solving formula provided in the masterclass. You can solve anything. You can get to success. My goal is I don't want people to take as long as I did to become successful. And what I mean by successful is I may have been a millionaire, but I was miserable and I didn't spend my time with my hero. I missed the time with my dad. Talk about a lifetime fuck up I will never get back. So my mission is if I can get those 15 problems out of your way without charging 30, 50, 100 grand a year, whatever the hell it is, you can go spend $1,000 and get all that. Then you can go be around relationships are the meaning of life. And it's problems and it's also love kind of intersect as life. And so I want people to be able to automate themselves. The masterclass I give away to free to everybody, and I put a really low charge on the other things because those are the 15 main things that got in the way.
That is awesome. For our viewers and listeners who want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you and again, to get that masterclass?
So the masterclass is automateyou.com. I think you can also link to it through my website, www.theprestonbrown. And then I give all this content away on my social medias, also The Preston Brown on all the social medias.
Awesome. We greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. Thank you for spending some of it with us.
Thanks for having me, brother. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you all for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.